Hi,
Hello.
we're back.
Everybody.
Yeah, and very special guest, Bobbie-Jane Gardner, who
Oh,
has appeared once on this channel and is, well, kind of a bit of a VC legend without actually making very many videos because, and I will put a link under this video of the amazing piece of music that Bobbie did in collaborating with members of the VC.
including yourself.
Including myself. Do you want to just say a couple of words about that, Bobbie? Because it's a nice plug for it as well.
Oh goodness. So basically, it was just about connecting with fellow vinyl nerds to co-create a piece of music about our shared passion for orchestrators from of R&B music from the 60s and 70s. And so I made a call out with Mark's assistant, and yeah, here we are. Like we wrote this piece. Was it a year ago? No, 2 years.
Even longer, I think, yeah.
Wow, 2019, and it was amazing. Like, you know, everyone contributed lyrics, musical phrases, bass lines that I was transcribing, and then we were fortunate to get a wonderful collective called Project Instrumental (PI), who came in playing strings, some local gospel musicians, and some singers, and they performed the work, the VC Love Train, and you can see the link somewhere underneath this video at some point, so check it out. But yeah, it's just a celebration of the heart of this this little piece of the interweb, and the, you know, how it's about giving and generosity and sharing and diversity, and just a celebration of everything, music. So yeah, it was fun. It was amazing fun, and actually I'm indebted to this project because this project has served to catalyze me being mentored by a legend, an absolute legend, and I'll tell you who that legend is later. I'll like leave you guessing who it could be, but because of this project I traveled to the States, and one of the artists that I will share it had mentored me in 2019 and changed my life. So thank you, VC community. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, well, it's a great privilege to have Bobbie back. And actually, just remembering that project was all about the love train, and the very broad theme that we have today, given that it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Love is in the air. And, we've all got 7 albums or songs that have love, that mean a lot to us, and are all about sharing love. So we're going to kick off, and yeah, anybody who listens to the All Points radio show may have a clue as to some of the tracks I'm going to be sharing, because I played some of these on Thursday. Anyway, my first album is Donny Hathaway, and yeah, this is just it's the In Performance album, and I think I got to know about this album because there was a builder working in our house when I was living in London. This is a long time ago, and he basically turned me on to Bill Withers, Isaac Hayes, and Donny Hathaway, and I was like a teenager, and I wasn't aware of any of them particularly. And I remember this was the first Donny Hathaway album I bought, and the track I Love You More Than You Ever Know, which is an Al Cooper track, still just it's just got so much emotion and feeling and beauty to it. And I mean, there's loads of great tracks. There's also Sack Full of Dreams, which I absolutely adore, which is really about a love of life and the planet. But, you know, I would always go back to Donny. There is no one else who sings like him and who authentically just wears their heart on their sleeve, and that voice, and obviously the whole tragic end to his life and what he was wrestling with, but a pure spirit. And anybody who doesn't know Donny Hathaway, please discover him, and this is a lovely introduction.
What was amazing about him was he didn't know he was a singer, of course.
No, he was a keyboard player, wasn't he?
Keyboard player.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Go on, Bobbie.
Is it me? Okay.
Yeah.
So, although I'm not necessarily a fan of Valentine's Day, and it's like, you know, Valentine's Day appears to be sponsored by Clinton cards. If you're in the UK or whatever, you know, big card company is in your country, but I was actually inspired by the theme of love and the more expansive notion of love, and I was thinking of a project that actually Mark's who Mark the company that you work for, the charity you've set up, and you ran I'm not sure if you've mentioned that on this program, so I won't, just in case. But what was lovely about the project you were working on, Mark, was it was exploring the various ideas and explorations of love by I think it was the Greeks, and like familial love, romantic love, that sort of thing. And so it leads me to this artist, Georgia Ann Muldrow, and the album Seeds, and the track itself, Seeds, is like, for me, is very much about love of humanity, and it's all about nurturing the next generation. It's got a really spiritual, like, it's like completely soaked in love, and I just love I love like the style of the music. It's got a really lovely like thumping bass line, and lovely kind of wind flourishes, like this nice like I think flute line, and I just love the message of it about, you know, nurturing and fostering. So I find that very loving. So that's my choice.
When did that album come out, Bobbie?
Oh, 2012. Wow. Did not know. Yeah, but amazing, like amazing producer, amazing singer, and she's almost like on this like spiritual quest to like share like, yeah, like what it is to be human, I suppose.
And she's the daughter of Roland Muldrow, who was a guitarist, or maybe still is a guitarist, but did a lot of work with Eddie Harris. I never realized that, but yeah. So
I saw her actually. She was. I think her partner's Dudley Perkins.
That's right. Yes.
And I saw him do. I was at the CMJ. This thing was called the College Music Journal, and he did a showcase thing. So it was a bit like kind of a bit like South by Southwest, but more kind of much more R&B related. And he did a show there, and she was kind of singing, not backup. She was kind of singing alongside him there, and she was great actually. Okay, I'm going Luther.
Hey!
And there's a real story behind this. It was in 1983 on Valentine's Day. I went to see Luther Vandross at the Dominion Theatre in London with my then girlfriend. And we came up from Brighton. I started living in Brighton then. I'd moved down to Brighton. And I think it's definitely one of the top 5 concerts I've ever seen, really. And virtually every single, I suddenly realized virtually every single song Luther sings is about love, actually. So I could choose almost anyone. And this was a weird version of it, because when it first came out in the UK, they put the first 2 albums together and put it out as an album and a 7-inch single with 5 tracks on it as well, which was a really weird way of doing it. So I thought actually the song "Better Love" of this is a fantastic song. And yeah, it's just got it. I've just been really getting into Luther a lot during lockdown. Actually, his voice is just incredible. Actually. I've kind of always known that, and the arrangements are great, especially on the first 3 or 4 records and so forth. So yeah, so very strong memories of 1983 and the Dominion. I know Norman Jay, the DJ, said it was the best concert he'd ever been to as well. Actually, it was absolutely. Luther was on a pink. He seemed to be on like a pink cake he was standing on, which was kind of incredibly kind of kitsch, but yeah, just really worked. There's a great venue at Dominion as well for music. It's unfortunately now just musicals now there, but it was a really nice venue to see bands and so forth.
I saw Tanya Maria there. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, it was a really perfect venue because you could stand and dance.
Yeah,
but it wasn't too big.
And also, if you're you were right on top of the music as well, in the kind of boxes upstairs. Yeah.
Well, let me see. I'm going to go with this. So, way back, how long have we been making videos, John? About 8 years?
Really?
Must be about 8 years.
I think we have. I think this was the very first album I ever showed back on our first video.
Yeah.
This is an album by the Canterbury-based band called Siddhartha. And this was their first album that was recorded at their home studio. And I'm just listening to it again recently. And I just think it's a wonderful album. It's very hard to categorize. It does have a kind of Canterbury proggish sound in that there's a slightly pastoral sound, a slightly proggy sound, but it's also very soulful and great songs. And I wanted to particularly draw attention to the track called Dorothy. And I saw this band at this very weird festival called Lounge on the Farm, which was next to my daughter's school at the time. And it was just, yeah, this festival kind of popped up, and loads of kids from the local schools all went there, and it was actually just a really great vibe. And I saw this band on the same stage that Steve Hillage and Gong were performing on, and that seemed highly appropriate. But yeah, it's a great album. If you don't know it, I think it's their best. What's it called?
It's called Sound Mirror.
No, it's not called Sound Mirror. I'm not sure what it's called. Anyway, first album, but yeah,
I love
great.
I love the front. What is that? Is the design?
It's like a kind of, a bit like a mandala kind of design, and then it's like almost straw or hair.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Nice.
Yeah. This came out in 2012, so this, yeah, I remember thinking, oh, this is exactly the kind of album I think the VC will really like, and I don't think anyone else had shown it at that time. But anyway, however many, 9 years later, here I am sharing it again.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. So Eddie Kendrick's Slick album.
I played that on Thursday, Bobbie.
Oh, did you? Oh, I love it. And yeah, sampled by, well, heavily sampled, but Erykah Badu in particular is the one who sampled it. Just like a beautiful vibe, like lyrically gorgeous. Just, it's like having a big snog, isn't it, this track? Yeah. It's just yeah, it's just the harmonies, just the space, just, yeah, it's just beautiful. Like, I can't.
It's one of those tracks where, you know, it's not just exciting to know where the sample came from, but the actual track is actually better than the track that.
Yeah, that's right.
I think
Definitely very satisfying. Yeah.
I kind of think Eddie Kendrick is underrated, actually. He's not. I mean, he's that whole string of records he made were absolutely fantastic. I think there are 3 or 4 in a row which are absolute killers. All of them, actually, really good. Mark does his show live. I pre-record my show, and the reason I do it is that when I play something like Voyage to Atlantis, I end up crying, and that would be quite embarrassing if I was doing the show live. So I actually included this in my show, which is coming out tomorrow on Valentine's Day. But yeah, the track Voyage to Atlantis and also Footsteps in the Dark on this album are just absolute killers for me. I mean, I just love both of them to bits, really. And just something about Ronnie Isley's voice, which is just extraordinary, really. And the production on these records sounds amazing. I always remember, Mark, one time we played at a session, you said it sounds like it's already been sampled. So there's so much air and space in their arrangements. But anyway, love the Isley Brothers.
Lovely.
Well, this next one, I got this on CD when it came out, and I've been looking for the vinyl for ages, and it's got a different cover. But this is the first Michel Geacello album called Plantation Lullabies. And do you know this, Bobbie?
No.
Oh my goodness. What a joy you have to discover in that case. Okay. Absolutely brilliant. This came out on the Maverick record label, which I believe was Madonna's record label, and produced by David Gamson and Bob Power, who later went on to do some amazing stuff with D'Angelo.
And Erykah.
And, yeah, this is just an absolutely fantastic album. I guess it was kind of grouped together with this sort of, you know, this thing called neo soul, you know, so Maxwell and Erykah Badu and D'Angelo. But I mean, Michelle has, you know, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, where John and I are always going on about her, I just think she's one of the most innovative and progressive musicians around. Every album's different. But this was her first. This is very funky. Yeah. And it's got her kind of trademark style of kind of singing and rapping. She's an amazing bass player as well. Absolutely wonderful bass player. And yeah, it just sounds utterly contemporary still. And this came out 1994, my goodness.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, if you had the CD, there's a different mix of the track called If That's Your Boyfriend, He Wasn't Last Night.
It's a good title.
Yes. It's honestly, you should just, yeah, Plantation Lullabies, absolutely.
Just before we started, I was listening to this.
Which is bitter.
Bitter, yeah. which is another incredible record. I think she's just great. There was a wonderful interview with Bob Power a few weeks ago, the mixer on the Questlove's channel, which is fantastic channel, actually just has really interesting stuff. And he said when they got the demos for that record, and also for the first D'Angelo record, he said the demos were actually, you could have released the demos. Wow. So well done. He gets so much credit for what he did on those two records, and he said actually that was already done. Actually, I hardly had to do anything really. We just sprinkling. He said they were the best demos you'd ever heard from Michelle and from D'Angelo.
Wow.
Okay, fair play.
You're on, Bobbie.
Oh, is it me? Oh gosh, okay. I was thinking it was John next. So this is actually by a gospel collective called the Meditation Singers. And the track I love is called Let Love Fill Your Heart. Another great track on this album is called Let Them Talk as well. And the reason why a good friend of mine, a photographer friend of mine, told me about this album, and it was produced by the great arranger Charles Stepney. And you can hear the signature steps on the sound, like the harp, like just like the use of the horns. You can hear his sound emerging. And but great vocals, a lovely, gospel-y message, like in that sense. So again, I'm kind of playing with this love theme a bit more. Released in 1968. But yeah, I kind of found them because I'm being a bit nerdy about Charles Stepney, but really enjoyed the album.
I don't know that.
No, I didn't know that as well. Going to get that. I played Charles Stepney. I played Terry Calliard chap on my show a couple of weeks ago. And I was listening to the arrangement on headphones, and Charles Stepney's arrangements were absolutely insane. There was so much going on. Yeah. There were harps, there was kind of marimbas, there was kind of all kinds of stuff happening. And I mean, they must have built it up over, because it wasn't a 16-track recording then either. So God knows how they did it. It must have built it like a wall of sound almost, I think, in a way.
And I forgot to actually mention the tracks that I was going to. The love track. Just talking back, the track "Call Me" and also "Outside Your Door." Absolutely wonderful love songs. Anyway.
Nice.
Okay, next up. I'm with Curtis next.
Oh.
And there's a track on here called "The Makings of You," which was actually on his first album, and I just love the stripped down version on this record. It's just amazing, actually. There's almost kind of almost nothing happening, except the audience are going completely nuts, basically. And it's just a gorgeous song, almost a cheesy song, actually. The lyrics are all about kind of honeysuckles and sugar and stuff like that. But it actually, just the way he sings it is fantastic, I think, actually. And this has got to be one of the best ever live albums.
Yeah. John, you made a mixtape for me when Gemma was pregnant with Millie, and you had that track on it, and it always reminds me of that time, because I was feeling so much love, that a baby was coming.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
okay.
So cute.
Right. Here's a classic. This is John Martin. This is the album One World on the Island record label. And it was, I remember hearing this as a teenager, and it kind of came out a similar time as punk was happening, but it was just somewhere else completely sonically. There's Rico Rodriguez is on it, and Steve Winwood, and it's some beautiful songs, some really amazing use of subtle electronics, but just pure heartfelt love sort of emanating from some of the tracks, particularly Couldn't Love You More is an absolute killer. And Small Hours is wonderful as well. But yeah, just an incredible mood to this. I think it was recorded in the country, and certainly at least one of the tracks they were recording things in the middle of the night, and actually putting mics outside, so you kind of hear sort of dawn happen.
Nice.
Small Hours, it's quite beautiful. Again,
Small Hours is in that track,
Small Hours is the track, but wonderful. And the track One World is a beautiful love song for the planet, I would say, as well.
Nice, again, interesting design as well with the cover, really like.
He'd been out to Jamaica, I think, before that as well. So I think he'd heard, he started to, he'd gone into Black Ark, Lee Perry's studio, and I think he'd started hearing kind of dub effects.
Yeah, Lee Perry is on this actually.
Yeah, that's right. So he just, I think that changed his kind of whole approach to the sonics of the whole thing as well.
Yeah. Also, Andy Newmark, who is our local celebrity drummer here in Faversham.
It's me. I keep forgetting. Right. So I couldn't help it. Stylistics. Has to be stop, look, listen to your heart. Beautiful song. Like, I absolutely adore the opening, and like you got the pizzicato strings, you've got the beautiful oboe melody, and then just, you know, the wonderful backing vocals and of course the vocals, like just a gorgeous, like really beautifully orchestrated track, and wonderful album anyway. And, but couldn't help myself. What is the year for this?
Early 70s, is it?
I'm trying to find. Ooh.
And you've got the incredible version of People Make the World Go Round.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, absolutely wonderful. I've got that on 45 as well. Why can't I find the year? I'll find it later. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful track.
It's really good. Mark turned me on to this really good Tom Bell compilation CD, double CD, with lots of his productions, for some of which about half of which I knew, but lots I didn't at all. People like productions for Johnny Mathis and really, it's a great record actually. I picked up quite a few of the albums that some of the tracks have come from, so that's really good.
Okay. You have to share that. You have to share that. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it just came out last year, I think, didn't it? The compilation.
Yeah. I could probably find it in about a second.
I've got a copy somewhere near as well. So we need a breakup record, I think, as well as.
I wasn't sure whether to include one or not. I thought, is it too miserable?
So I've gone for the absolute ultimate breakup tune, which is of course is Idiot Wind, which is originally on Blood on the Track. So the version on this record, on this Hard Rain record, is unbelievably vicious. Actually, I mean, Mark was talking about punk. I always remember this record came out, and all the punks were saying, you know, we don't like Bob Dylan or something because he's so kind of wimpy or whatever. And this record makes most punk sound like the Teletubbies or something. Or this absolutely, the whole band are out of tune. They're all drunk, I think, actually. And it's absolute mayhem. Mick Ronson's in the band as well. He left because he'd left David Bowie at this time. And it's a complete racket, basically. But the song is so brilliant on this, and he just spits the words out. It's just vicious, really. And his wife was actually, there was a video shot at the same time, which was on YouTube, and his ex-wife is actually standing watching him sing this song about her on stage. But anyway, so this is a kind of classic version of Idiot Wind on this record. I always love this record actually, because it is so completely out there, really. And everybody, it's a band where everybody sounds like they're out of tune, which is actually quite difficult to do. Classic stuff, the ultimate breakup record.
Okay, well, I think as we're in the territory of kind of left field love music, this is, I wanted to share the second Roxy Music album, which is called For Your Pleasure, which I think I got when I was 14. And I wanted in particular to talk about the track In Every Dream Home a Heartache, which is basically a love song to an inflatable doll with the most unbelievable guitar solo at the end, and still sounds like nothing else. And the whole album, I absolutely love this album. It was so, I think it came out in 1972 and just doesn't sound like anything else that was happening at that time, just so fresh. And I remember as a teenager being very, very keen on
Oh wow.
Of course there's Eno there. But yeah, I just thought these guys look like they've just stepped off a spaceship.
Really do. Is that the copy as well that you've had to?
Yeah. That's the one.
Nick, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So this is actually a funk compilation, and it's assigned actually by the DJ Ian Wright, who is like, for those who are in the funk and the rare soul circles, he's like an epic collector. And The track is Honey and the Bees, and it's called Love Addict. And it was a time when I was DJing a lot of sister funk. And I remember I went to the launch of this album and in London, and when he played the 45, it was like everyone just went nuts with this track. And it's just got it's just amazing, like vocals, like the groove is just ridiculous. It's just a heavyweight track. And yeah, so one for all the love addicts out there.
Hold it up a bit, Bobbie.
Yeah, really nice. I have it on 45 as well. I had to get it. Beautiful track.
So Bobbie, this is when you were part of the DJ crew known as Mama Feelgood.
That is, yes. Yeah, how did that come about? I think it came about because I studied in Canterbury, and then on the way back to Birmingham, we did a pit stop in London where my sister lives and we're studying. And we parked in like a supermarket, but we parked by some fences. And I did comment to my dad, we shouldn't really park. It doesn't feel right us parking there. But anyway, I had all my belongings in there. My clarinets, my computer, my record collection that most of my student loan had paid for, which is like CDs. And then went for some food. And on the way back, the van had been broken into. All my music had gone. My computer had gone. But they left the clarinet, which probably the CD and the clarinet are probably like the most expensive thing in the van. And as a result of that, when I came back to Birmingham, I was like, I have no music. Like this is so weird. And so there was this really cool records shop in Birmingham, Moseley, called Gibbering Records, and the owners of that record store, which is no more, they run this really cool festival called Shambhala, and it's very much about being eco-friendly, and it's got a really nice ethos. Check it out. I went in there to buy back music I used. It's so like annoying. It's like buying back music you already owned. And the owner said, "Have you heard this on vinyl?" And I said, "No." And he said, so we did like a little, spot the difference, and he played it on the 2 formats, and that was it. From that moment on, I was just buying a lot of vinyl records, and I had grown up with vinyl. My dad has lots of records, and but we're never allowed to touch them because we're kids and probably would have broken them. But that was my way in. And then through buying records, I was then invited to DJ at house parties, and then house parties turned into someone's night, club night, and then I saw a female funk DJ play a club in the Custard Factory in Birmingham, and I was just like, wow, she's playing some amazing tunes. And I said hello to her, and then we had a conversation, and we started running nights, and we chose to call it Mama Feelgood after the Lynn Collins track. And we played abroad, like with the UK, warmed up for like amazing acts like the Hot Brass, like the Hot 8. Is it the Hot 8? High brass. And anyway, it was cool. It was an amazing experience, and because of that that hobby, if you like, it brought it kind of connected me to Mark as well. So
that's when we met. I'm just now remembering we were on Tom Robinson and you and Ammo.
Was it Ammo?
I think it was. Was it?
I think it was a really cool bass guitarist who what's his name?
Oh, Steve. Steve. I can't remember what his name is. He's Steve somebody or other though.
Yes, there was basically we were really bricking it, and then there were 2 people who were really confident and when we were But I was really scared.
Not there. Maybe he wasn't there.
I think he was at the event, and I think you 2 invited me to then hang out afterwards, but I think I was so overwhelmed by the experience. It was like really hip, and I'm not really hip. so I liked it. But,
there we go.
Donny Mitchell. From For the Roses, the track Lesson in Survival, which is an amazing tune. It's about kind of just the lyrics fantastic. This is actually I think it was almost my favorite Joni Mitchell record. This actually came after Blue, and I think people kind of were so overwhelmed by Blue they didn't really give this enough of a listen. But it's got some, and sonically it's amazing, this record as well. It's got a fantastic sound. So yeah, I can't go wrong with Joni Mitchell. Love her to bits, really. And this is still my original copy I've had since 1972. I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Really
Okay, 2 more records. Well, we've got to have some Stevie, haven't we? This is the original Musicarium, which is like a kind of best of, except it has 2 tracks that were never released on any other records, namely That Girl and the track which I want to talk about, which is Ribbon in the Sky. And the reason I wanted to pick this is because when I got married several years ago, this was the track that was playing.
Oh, that's nice.
So really, do you know the track, Bobbie?
No, but it's just a beautiful story. I'm going to listen to it.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song. It's got some gorgeous piano playing by Stevie. Yeah, people don't seem to know it that well, but it's wonderful. And That Girl, of course, is a beautiful tune as well. So yeah, that's why it's in my selection.
It was my dad's favorite song as well. We played it at his funeral.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, my dad absolutely loved that song. He used to play it over.
Ribbon in the Sky.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah, I think it came out in one compilation of Stevie Wonder as well, but slightly shorter version. I remember buying him the Musicarium CD with it's quite a long track, isn't it? It's about 6-7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And he just absolutely loved it. Yeah, it's one of his favorites.
I remember hearing it because when Kiss FM was still a pirate, Gordon Mack, who was one of the founders, he often played it on his show. He was the only DJ I'd ever heard play it. That's how I discovered him.
Got string bass. It's got acoustic bass on it as well, isn't it?
Yeah. What a connection! That's like amazing. Like, wow.
Yeah. No, my dad loved that. So when he was quite deaf as well, when he was got older, and sometimes I'd pull the car up outside his block of flats, and I could hear it coming out of the window. Either Stevie and Marvin were his 2 favorite people, basically. This is an 85-year-old, listening to Marvin Gaye.
Amazing. He sounds like a cool dude. So it's me. Okay. So has to be a bit of Patrice Rushen. Definitely had to be. I couldn't help myself. And the track is I Need Your Love. Like, what I like about Patrice is just like she's got this subtle nature, hasn't she? Like, in this really gentle voice. She's not like belting it out like, your average diva. And I just love the mood, the quality she evokes. It's very gentle, and I would say quite a lot of her songs are about longing, actually, and like unrelinquished love almost. But I just like Patrice's music, and in my DJing days, I'd always beginning of the night, always like to put on some of her ballads and just sign out. Beautiful track.
Which album is that, Bobbie?
Posh. Is it Posh? Yeah.
Yes, it's Posh. Yes.
Okay. I don't know that one.
That's got Haven't You Heard on it as well. Has it got Haven't You Heard on it? Or...
No, it's got Never Gonna Give You Up.
Never Give You Up, that's a track, yeah.
I Need Your Love, Time Will Tell, The Dream, The Funk Won't Let You Down, and This Is All I Really Know. So
she also plays great electric piano solos. I think of anybody, she's the best on kind of funk tunes. She's the best, I think, for doing little fills and piano. She's absolutely fantastic.
I saw her play at the Jazz Cafe 2019, and she just absolutely murdered it. And her nickname's Baby Fingers because she's got the tiniest fingers, and she's just like up and down the keys, like amazing. And she is the figure who mentored me in 2019, and just amazing conversations, and just an absolute pleasure she invited me to her house and her studio, and she just poured as much knowledge as she could in me, and it was just amazing because she was playing the album Come to My Garden by Minnie Riperton, and showing her influences, and it was just like the penny dropped. I can now hear how Stepney's really a massive influence in her music, like the trumpet lines, the octave vocal. Yeah, you can really hear how she was inspired by his sound palette. Amazing woman.
So you and Prince were mentored by Patrice.
Wow.
She taught Prince how to basically play synth, as far as we can say.
Really?
Yeah, she was really, very early on. There's a whole lot coming out about it now, actually. And the fact that there's a track with her playing with Prince, which is just reappeared on YouTube again from the Batman soundtrack, because he was mad about it. He wanted it. I mean, basically, he was absolutely crazy about it.
Which track did he write about her? Was it?
I Want to Be Your Lover?
I Want to Be. That was the yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that, like.
Fairly straightforward.
Yeah, she's such a gentle spirit and so humble, honestly. Like, you know, there's a certain kind of musician that is just like, your greatest track is your next track, always striving, always moving forward, and she's really committed to her students at the University of Southern California. Just, yeah, really, really good egg, and just she's a goat gem, like just crazy.
Yeah,
amazingly talented.
Love her to bits, definitely. Yola Tango from their album And Then Nothing Turned Itself Inside. Yola Tango are a kind of trio out of Hoboken in New Jersey, and they've been together a long, long time now. Just and they kind of have this way with love songs. They're just very, very good. Almost sound like they're kind of communal garden. They're not kind of big dramatic love songs. They're just about meeting someone, getting embarrassed, all that kind of stuff. And there's a great song here called Our Way to Fall, which is just one of my favorites and definitely reminds me of one particular person very strongly. Yeah, and this was their album which came out in, 2000, so it's 20 years old. And they had a whole run of records, which are just fantastic, really. And everything from kind of very gentle stuff through to real kind of almost like epic guitar tracks as well. So yeah, Yola Tango, great car. Somebody ploughing a kind of crop circle outside of the.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Well, this last one, I have to share it really. So I was doing my show on Thursday and I was playing a lot of love songs. And then I got this news on a text that Chick Corea had died. Yeah, I didn't have really enough time to sort of respond apart from to pull out this album, and I played the track Crystal Silence, which, although there's no words, it was so emotional. It's just absolutely beautiful playing. There's also a lovely version that he did on his album with Gary Burton, the Vibes player. And this features Airto Moreira on percussion, Joe Farrell on soprano sax, Stanley Clark on the bass, and some tracks there's Flora Purim as well. But yeah, just I've been taking stock of what an incredibly influential musician Chick Corea was, and how he inhabited so many different sort of musical styles and different sort of situations, and what an incredible writer he was and producer. And yeah, just wanted to recognize Chick Corea. Actually, what a great loss. And no one seemed to be expecting that, no one had any idea that he was ill.
No, he always had a look about him that he was always going to be there. Somehow. Yeah. He always looked incredibly young. And what's been interesting is all the tributes to him, is what incredibly fondly people remember him. He was obviously a really supportive kind of character to a load of people as well. And Roy Hargrove posted a picture of him, not Roy Hargrove, Terence Blanchard posted a picture today of him and his daughter's birthday party or something or other. And I think he obviously just was a very kind man, I think.
What other tracks are on the album, Mark?
What other tracks?
Yeah, what are the other tracks on the album?
There's the track Return to Forever. So this album is called Return to Forever, and then there was the band Return to Forever that came out of it. The second side is just one track some time ago, which goes into La Fiesta, and then there's a track called What Game Shall We Play Today? So there's only 4 tracks on the whole thing, but it's beautiful, really, really beautiful album. Yeah, it sounds like that picture actually.
Yeah.
It's been quite like a nature theme as well as a love theme with the selections, Mark. Planets and seas and the sea.
Yeah, I'm talking about universal love here.
Yes, you are. It's lovely. So okay, I ran out of time, so I was like, I need to find a record. So I was listening to some. Can you see this? Is it coming? Some Ann Pebbles.
It's a bit glary. That's it. That's nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I Can't Stand the Rain, and I was thinking I can't share that one, but that is a crazy track. But I was listening just before we started to a track on the second side called A Love Vibration. And yeah, it's like, it was very enjoyable. I only just listened to it because as a DJ, sometimes I would buy an album just for one track, just to play out. It's terrible, terrible. But of course, that's what we do. But I really enjoyed I like the lyrics, I like the groove, I like the vibe of it. Yeah, this is a reissue that came out in 2009. But I'm afraid to say I can't say too much about it because I only just listened to it because I ran out of time. But I would say check it out.
Good record. I've got it actually as well. It's kind of produced by it's on High Records, isn't it? So it's produced by the same people who did Al Green and all that kind of. So it's got that kind of feel to it as well. A great track. I'm going to tear your Playhouse down as well. I don't think that's on that record, but which is an amazing kind of.
It is, yeah.
It's a fantastic track. That is kind of definitely giving her boyfriend or a lover a kind of once over on that track. I'm going to tear your Playhouse down room by room, she says, basically, which is good. So anyway, I've got to show a CD because I've now lost the vinyl of this twice, actually. Most recently, it's Wilco's Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. And I had vinyl, I lost it. And I bought my last trip abroad just before lockdown. I came back from Denmark and left it on the plane. So I found a copy.
Oh, John.
So I've now so back to the CD anyway, so I will get the vinyl again. There's a great track on here called I'm Trying to Break Your Heart, which is kind of almost an epic track by Wilco. Sounds like, it's kind of like almost got a day in the life kind of sound to it. Really, really builds very abstract sounds. Jim O'Rourke, who's an amazing producer and arranger, started working with him around this time as well. And he comes from a kind of avant-garde classical music background. So there's lots and lots of stuff going on here, but it's a great track, very funny as well. It's got some wonderful, it's got a wonderful line saying, let's get undressed like cross-eyed strangers on it, which I think which is kind of thing you do when you're starting a relationship, I think. And yeah, so Wilco's I'm Trying to Break Your Heart off Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, and I will get the vinyl again one day.
Right, well, we're on to a book that we're reading and or a film or a TV series that we're watching. And this is a book that I mean, I've got, yeah, as Bobbie, we were saying earlier on, we've got a number of different books on the go. This is Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. And what's interesting about this version is it's the Robert G. Henricks translation. And there's some ancient texts. And then I think it was in the early 80s, suddenly like a version of the Tao Te Ching from 200 years earlier was revealed. And this is the translation that has the kind of oldest version. And with these kind of texts, you know, there's a number of loads of different chapters, and the earliest ones are kind of the most authentically of the time, and then they kind of gradually get added to. But these are the kinds of texts where you can read a sentence and ponder on it for a week. It's about, you know, just a few words that really make you think. So that's going in parallel to my Chinese philosophy class, which I've started doing since lockdown, and is fascinating. And in terms of TV or films, I watched Citizen Kane again for the first time for about 25 years, and also a film that has Gary Oldman in it called Mank, which is all about the screenwriter of Citizen Kane. And I always thought it was all Orson Welles, but in fact it wasn't. And both those films are amazing, and I recommend watching them in that order. And then the other thing we're watching, my daughter's never watched the crime series Line of Duty, and there's 5 series and a 6th about to come out. And this is a UK BBC series, which I think you can watch on BritBox or something if you're out of the UK. But it's just a brilliantly scripted and plotted crime thriller.
Nice. Is it me? Is it my turn?
You, Bobbie.
Okay. I don't have any film recommendations, but I do have lots of books on the go. And a book that I gobbled up very, very quickly, recommended to me by someone in a shop, actually. I think it was Urban Outfitters, but it's called Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams, and it's basically about it's a really refreshing book about Black lived experience, and it's about like a late 20-year-old lady called Queenie, and just how she's navigating race, intersectionality, dating, just a lot of kind of issues that for most Black people we go through it on a daily basis. But the way it's written with so much humour, it's quite tragic. It's just a really refreshing read, and it was just, I couldn't put it down. And yeah, absolutely recommend it. Really like funny, like it made me start crying at one point, but it's just a really great book. So check Queenie out. Another book, you're gonna laugh, I'm not sure you want. Serial Composition.
Yeah.
Reginald Smith, Brindle. So yeah, although I don't want to be writing 12-tone music, I definitely am interested in poaching different skill sets. I teach composition on my Saturday job, and so I find that a lot of the old books, I love the way they're written, succinct, clarity. It's not about selling a personality. It's just to the point. Love these books. The next book I have is by my spiritual mentor, Daisaku Ikeda, and it's called The New Human Revolution, which is, he's written 30 volumes, and it's like a chronicle of his life, trying to embody Nichiren Buddhist philosophy, which is all about dignity of life, and just showing and sharing his travels around the world, having amazing dialogues, encouraging people, and just trying to share his life as a living example of how to live your fullest as a human being. So very inspiring. The current chapter I'm on, which is called Triumph, really inspired me, because it was about how someone was quite arrogant, and but just how the humility of how he was able to receive this arrogance and support that person without even telling them off or saying you did this, but just embracing them with no reproach. That really really touched my heart. And the last book is 50 Walks in Warwickshire and the West Midlands. Now, I love walking, and I don't drive, but I love these, the fact that these walks are circular, and you get a lovely mixture of walking around canals, open country, and the countryside, just really beautiful. And I love the challenge as well of following the routes, because you get different people who ride them, and it could be like you scratching your head, where is this public footpath? But yeah, it's been a really exciting challenge. Especially navigating the countryside whilst being Black as well, because I think internally I had to kind of get over the fear of feeling like I was, and some people do respond a bit weirdly initially, but now I'm just like, it's like I've had this breakthrough and I just don't care, and I own those spaces. And obviously now with the lockdown restrictions, I'm not driving in the middle of night. Well, I don't drive anymore anyway. I haven't got a car, but I still do local walks, and that's beautiful. And I just think in terms of well-being and feeling really constricted by what we can do, walking is just amazing way to clear your head and refresh your spirit. So I recommend.
Lovely.
You know Ingrid Pollard's photographs. Have you seen Ingrid Pollard? Who actually knows Frank Rogers. That's another bizarre connection. But she did some photographs. She's a Black woman who grew up in Norfolk, in the countryside, and she did this amazing set of photographs, which were in a sense typical kind of almost landed gentry kind of photographs of a woman wearing one of those green, what are those called? Those green jackets. That's right, yeah. All that kind of stuff, but with her obviously in that kind of part. It was really interesting. Came out in the 80s, I think, and they challenged that whole thing about who owns the countryside, and they're really interesting. It was great.
Check it out.
Good stuff. So my book's a really weird one. It's called The Mushroom at the End of the World. and it's about the Matsutake mushroom, which is one of the rarest mushrooms in the world, and kind of very, very highly valued. It's like a real delicacy. But it's all about how mushrooms grow and decay, and how you get cycles of life, and all about foraging. It's just a really weird book, actually. I mean, it's a kind of, it's an academic book. I mean, it's an anthropology text really, but it's incredibly, we've all been we set up a little book club last couple of weeks ago. We've all been reading it, and it's kind of just really gripping actually about, and you know, I've never really, to be honest, thought that much about mushrooms before, but kind of it's very interesting. And also how most of the people who grow these mushrooms are really from very marginalized societies. So they tend to be the most marginal people in any society they come from. And they're the people who grow them and forage for them as well, and also make a living out of doing it. But it's a fascinating book. It's kind of ecological, anthropological, economic text all rolled into one, actually. Really interesting. Yeah, kind of quite an odd one, but at least 4 people I know have read it and really liked it anyway. And the other book is written by a friend of mine, actually, which I'm thinking of love poetry. And it's my friend Paul Evans, who died, sadly, back in the 80s. He fell off a mountain. We were incredibly close friends. And he wrote a few books while we used to share a flat together in Brighton. And one of them, this book has got some incredible love poems in it. Absolutely, almost kind of drop dead poems in there. And he was, yeah, and one was written about my ex, actually, which is quite strange, but still a very beautiful poem. Yeah. And my film is, last night I watched the first in, Adam Curtis is an amazing filmmaker. And I watched the first of his new series of films last night called Can't Get You Out of My Head. And it was just completely mind-blowing. I just actually sat there for about 10 minutes after saying, what have I just watched? Actually, this kind of bringing together all these different themes, documentary footage, kind of non-documentary stuff, and just kind of telling a kind of story about how we've got to where we are now as a society. So tonight I'm going to watch the second part. I think there's 6 parts. They're all on iPlayer only. So the only place you can see them is on my iPlayer. And we're going to watch a second part tonight with my friend in the States, actually. And it's just, I mean, it's almost impossible to describe, but definitely worth watching. I think really extraordinary stuff.
Is it the Kylie Minogue track, Can't Get You Out of My Head?
I think that must feature in it. They didn't feature last night, but I think it's in there somewhere or other, yeah. But he's knitting together, and the footage he gets, God knows where he gets the footage, actually. Got some amazing, there's a whole thread through the last night's thing, which is about Mau Mau in Kenya. And there's a weird, some of the footage he got from that is just unbelievable. I've just never seen anything like it before, really. So you kind of, yeah, I think he's really, really clever and really interesting and has a completely different, unexpected perspective on things, I think.
Wow. What an excellent session.
Yeah.
I think we should say goodbye to our viewers.
Yeah.
Bye. Lovely to see you. Stay safe.
Yeah. And